Now the Spirit of the Lord is the one that speaks through me. Before my mother's womb, He ordained and knew me, ransomed me, and placed His words upon my tongue. Few are chosen, rest assured that I am one, an ambassador for Christ, His beloved Son, and by His word, let souls be one. So welcome everyone to this listening party. Sit back and let your souls be hearty. Celebrate with me the gift that God has imparted. And what better way to get this party started than to give Him the stage, because He knows where your heart is. Holy Spirit, you are welcome in this place. Give me the boldness to look upon each face and speak every word that you've given me to say. With no fear, I speak truth. I won't deviate, and I'm confident that all will go great. So let your presence saturate this place. I breathe in your spirit, I intake a river full of life, water in every dry place. As I flow to the notes that heaven navigates, let it bless every listener and free them today. Let the truth of your word draw souls to be saved. Let the comforter comfort hearts today, and let the light of your word show them the way. Every time I write, I tell His story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. He opens up to me and shows me His glory. He gives me the strength to keep on soaring, and when I open up my mouth, for Him I'm roaring, and the Spirit of the Lord goes before me. To the captive set free, that's reassuring. Over the years He strengthened my inner core, and every day I wake up just seeking Him more. Am I ready for this? In my spirit I'm sure I am in Christ, and my Father I adore. He redeemed me from destruction, I am His ambassador. As the world turns and open up the door, I step in with purpose to win souls for the Lord. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of His word before me. Every time I write, I tell the story as I bask in the truth of His word before me.
Hey, welcome to the Tom the Bomb Sports Talk, the fastest growing show in the world. It's Monday, September 8th, and this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Hey, look, Lori bought me a new tie. How does it look? If you don't think it's a great day, just try missing one. And we, LOVE, love sports and the Word of God on the Tom the Bomb Show. And yes, we are live on Facebook. Our contact number here is 301 655 9992. That's 301 655 9992. And you can catch all the replays immediately after the live show on YouTube at Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. That's Tom the Bomb Sports Talk on YouTube. You can also contact us by email at info@tomthebombsports.com. That's info@tomthebombsports.com. And of course, you can always visit our website at www. You guessed it, tomthebombsports.com. Hey, gang, I'd like to personally thank you all for your prayers and your support. We've heard you loud and clear, and for everyone that has reached out wanting to contribute to the show and our ministry, Dr. Lauren and I sincerely appreciate that. We appreciate your patronage, and you can bless us to keep creating content and spreading the word of God. Our business cash app is hashtag $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. That's $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. We sincerely thank you, and may God bless you 100-fold return on the seed you sow into our ministry at the Tom the Bomb Show. As usual, we want to start off by thanking God for all the wonderful things that He's already done for us in 2025. Our theme for 2025 is living in the grace realm. And guys, if you guys are missing our Friday night grace devotionals, I'm telling you, you are missing it. Our foundational scripture for 2025 for the whole year is found in 2 Corinthians 9 and 8. And this is the Passion Translation. It says, yes, God is more than ready to overwhelm you with every form of grace, so that you will have more than enough of everything, every moment, and in every way. He will make you overflow with abundance in every good thing that you do. Amen. Hey, gang. at I'm pleased and thrilled to talk to you about our church at Victory Christian Church International. We're offering free food for 50 families in designated zip codes, and the dates along with the QR code. You can scan to sign up. We're eventually looking to get up to 100 families, but we're starting off with 50 families, and we're really, really excited about this. So pay attention to the zip codes. It's going to be the third Saturday of each month at 11 a.m. And our location is 7 Metropolitan Court. That's in Gaithersburg, Maryland, 20878. And it's open to the residents of the following zip codes. That's 20878, 20877, 20879, 20855, and 20882. Pastor Brew, our beloved pastor in heaven, he used to always say that if you aren't making an impact in your community as a church, then why do you even need to be there? If the community doesn't know you're there to make an impact on the community, why should you even be there? So that's what we're doing. So scan the QR code to register. It's really important that you scan. We will have on-site registrations available as well, and we'll be doing this on a regular basis. So we're really, really excited about this to be making an impact. We had our community day last week, last Saturday, September 6th, which was awesome. We had free clothes, free shoes, food, health. The mayor was there. It was awesome. It was really, really awesome. And like I said, we are making an impact in the community. That's what the church used to be. That's what the church is supposed to be. So we're excited about that. All righty. Okay, gang. We got trivia questions for you today. I got trivia for you, Felix. We got trivia. Okay, so here's your trivia question. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are the are two of only three QBs to have ever won 13 games with two different teams. There are only three quarterbacks that's ever done that in the history of the NFL, and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are two. Our trivia question is, who is the third QB to have done it that has won 13 games or more with two separate teams? That's our trivia question for today. I'm racking your brain on this one, Felix. That's our trivia question for today. No poll question, but that's our trivia question. That's where we're getting it. So hey gang, let's get it. Let's get it. It's week 1 in the NFL and all is well. Boy, we've been holding back on this, right, Felix? You there, Felix?
Yes, I am.
We've been holding back. Tom the Bomb been trying to be good, and we're 12 days from the NFL. We're 10 days from the NFL. We're 7 days from the NFL. I've been trying really, really hard to just talk about other things other than the NFL. But it's week 1, baby, and we're here. Felix, let's start off with the Ravens. The best game of the week. I can't. It just kept getting better. Let's start off with the Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. Say it ain't so, Joe. Say it ain't so, Felix. Hey, you guys know the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence? Felix, my new nickname for the Baltimore Ravens is Can't Get Right.
Mm.
Because the Ravens just can't get right, at least not against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills were down 15 points in the fourth quarter and scored 16 unanswered points to win 41-40. You got to be kidding me. This is why Tom the Bomb says stop betting on NFL professional football. Don't do it, Benny. It's suicide. Stop betting on professional football. Well, Felix, the battle of the MVPs did not disappoint. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson were both amazing, but after the Ravens offense was unstoppable, the Bills defense got the stops when it needed it the most. And others around Josh Allen stepped up, Felix. However, whenever there's a great comeback, there's usually a collapse on the other end. And Felix, the Baltimore Ravens had a 99.1% win probability with 4 minutes and 48 seconds left in the game, according to ESPN Next Gen stats. Okay. I know Felix likes to be technical. I got to get technical when I'm talking to Felix. A lot had to go wrong for the Ravens to lose this game. So, what I want to do is I want to start off and I just want to I want to give point by point where I feel like the tide started to turn, and you comment on this, Felix. Okay, so let's start off at the end of the first half, Felix, with just 24 seconds left. The Bills gained 48 yards, and then the Ravens gave up what seemed to be an insignificant field goal, but they lost by 1 point. What's your thoughts on that, Felix? 48 yards in 24 seconds.
So I would say this. There were a number of different. So first off, I'd say this: the meat and potatoes of the game. The Ravens coverage unit just didn't. Their secondary just didn't cover the Bills. I mean, that was pretty much the long and short of it. If they
Mhm,
played better coverage, now it's one thing for Josh Allen to pass it to receivers and its standard coverage, but these guys were wide open these spaces. So I really think that's what a big part of this was. And the Bills defense, they were one of the best defenses in the NFL for the past few years. They
mhm.
allowed a lot of Baltimore to get a lot of
Wow.
stuff easier passes in too.
Mhm,
So I would say that I expected more from Baltimore because I know what their defense is capable of in
mhm,
terms of talent. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not calling the right coverage schemes, when you're going up against certain quarterbacks and certain offensive schemes, that you can't rely 100% on the front seven,
mhm,
as Baltimore seems to do.
mhm. Well, let's get to our next point, Felix. Okay, number two. Two key missed tackles by very, very reliable tackles on James Cook, who went for 51 yards on a dump off safety valve, of course, leading to another touchdown. I mean, come on, man. They're great tacklers, and they missed some tackles on a safety valve hit out. What was your thoughts on that play?
I'll say this: tackles, crucial part of the game. I
Mhm,
mean, in reality, a lot of times it's easier said than done because these players are more athletic than ever. They know exactly how to misdirect, juke, all of
mhm,
that.
mhm,
And sometimes these players, by natural instinct, they want to go for the big hit. And fact
mhm,
of the matter is, I mean, there are a number of reasons why a person can miss a tackle. So
mhm.
those play a bigger role than what a lot of people say. And again, as much as I'd like to hammer down on that, if it's in the open fields, that's hard for me to criticize. But definitely in those tight spaces, near the line of scrimmage, definitely inexcusable there.
Mhm. I got a text from my big brother Nat Wood on this next point. The missed extra point by rookie kicker Tyler Loop, leaving them at 40 instead of 41. Game over in
Mhm.
regulations. What's your thoughts on that one? That's a big one.
That really is, and like you said, I mean, it just kind of goes to show that the Ravens, although the Bills made a comeback, they deserve credit in their own right.
Mhm.
The Ravens technically played a better game. I
There's
mean,
no doubt. There's no doubt. As a matter of fact, one of the things that Nate said was, it's a shame that they played so well and lost.
and that's just one of the things about football. I mean, really, sports in general. You can play a better game.
Mhm.
You could you could have a better. I'd say in basketball, you tend to be rewarded for playing a better game.
Mhm.
99% of times that the better team wins. But even in hockey, you can have all the scoring opportunities and take no advantage of it, and your opponent can just score off of one breakaway. And you can have the puck it. You can have double the offensive zone time. I mean, it's just a matter of what happened.
Mhm. Well, Felix, like I said, they had a 99.1% chance with 4 minutes and 48 seconds left to win this game. That's why you stop betting on these football games. I'm telling you, I'm Tom the Bomb is trying to help you out there. Stop betting on these football games.
I
Felix,
am so glad you brought this up because I have a friend. I don't personally gamble. I just make picks for my sports media,
uh-huh,
and I'm doing a private thing. It's no money involved. We're really just doing it to see who's. I mean, there's a prize at the end, but it's nothing serious.
mhm.
But basically, they were asking me for betting advice. This friend gambles. I told him flat out, look, I'm not an expert gambler. He says, Felix, I just need two locks. I'm like, look,
Two locks. You
I'll
should have
say
told
this.
you should have told him take the Ravens.
That's the problem. Did you know that I predicted almost every single game correct, except for the two locks that I gave him? The sad irony. I had to apologize to Matt right after. I'm like, I told you I do not bet. I don't have betting experience. I just gave you what I felt
That's
confident in,
that's
and
too
that's
funny,
what happened.
Felix. You gave him all the right games for the two locks. Man, you guys got to stop betting on these football games. Felix, the next point is the next point is simply coaching. When you blow a 15-point lead, coaching is always a factor. The play calling was in the words of that great poet Charles Barkley, it was terrible. It was terrible. It was terrible in the fourth quarter. The Ravens gained 17 yards with just one first down on their final three possessions, and you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the backfield. I'm sorry, Felix. That's coaching, man. That's coaching. What's your thoughts on that?
Definitely, especially at a certain point where your opposing offense needs yards and they need them quickly. You come to a point where the strategy becomes fairly simple at first. Now, I'd say this is, again, easier said than done, especially going up against Josh Allen. I'd say traditionally you blitz, then with coverage, you put up zone schemes, not so much one on one. Why? You're forcing him to make an inaccurate pass with the blitz. But to your point, there's a way to close out, even with the offense, the way you milk the clock down. Look at Washington's game. It is an example for how to do it. Washington, despite outplaying New York thoroughly, I was well aware that that lead could have gone away very late in that game because of the sheer number of penalties that I was looking at. We had more penalties than New York, I think by a factor of maybe 3-1. I'm just estimating that. And I was just thinking, all we have to do, just make no mistakes, run the ball. If you're going to pass it, go for the sure thing, milk the clock. That's what we did. And quite frankly, like I said, seeing things like this happen, I'm just glad we won, because with 5 minutes left in the game, I wouldn't have been surprised if we blew that lead. I honestly hate to say it.
The best sports analysis in the DMV. It amazes me now. I can ask Felix anything, and he can always work the Commanders or the Wizards or or the Capitals.
Always.
Well, we are in the DMV. Listen, my next point, Felix, is really the number one reason why you really shouldn't be betting on professional sports. The next one is just bad luck. Can't get right. The TD in the fourth quarter that was tipped or deflected to Keon Coleman in the end zone, that was a massive break for the Bills. But that was just bad luck for the Ravens. And man, if you had money on that game for the Ravens and you saw that deflection go in for a touchdown, you should have knew you were done right there. Man, that's just bad luck, man. How do you lose that, man? What's your thoughts on that tip deflection to Keon Coleman?
I'll just say this. Sometimes when you see certain things happen in football, left and right, you just have a feeling. I mean, honestly speaking, realistically, I expected the Ravens to win that game in the late goings, but I was not certain at all because, like you said, it was just a series. It was a perfect storm. Missed field goal, and I'm not even sure if you got to that halftime. That 1 second play before halftime. Oh, did I say it too early?
No, go ahead. I missed. No, you didn't. I told you I missed that one because I was literally watching the game and kind of working on the show, so I missed that part, Felix.
Oh
Go,
my
go ahead and
goodness! I
enlighten
mean,
us.
it was a perfect storm. Missed extra point, tipped ball, the fumble. I mean, at a certain point, you just see
Right,
certain things, and even
domino.
exactly, and
Uh-huh.
even with that play, I'm going to say this now. I tried to replay it. I had some sort of issue with my system that was very oddly timed. I'm not going to, whatever I'm saying, I'm not trying to imply anything, but I'll say this. I noticed that I'm pretty sure the clock went to 0 at the time he stepped out of bounds, but right when he went to field goal range. I was expecting the Bills to head into the locker room, narrowly missed a field goal attempt. Then I saw Josh Allen standing on the field saying, hold on. We have one more second. Then they're given one more second. I see a replay. I could be wrong, and I tried to replay this because sometimes your mind, I mean, you can miscalculate something. I could have sworn the first time they showed the replay, the clock went all the way down to 0 seconds before he stepped out. And the second time, for sure, they showed one more second. I don't know what to make out of that. Maybe I remember it wrong. Maybe I miscalculated the first time, but it was a perfect storm, to your main point.
Yeah, well, like this is a very key point for not betting on professional football. Just bad luck. Immediately what comes to mind is the immaculate deception when Laurie's hero Franco Harris picked the ball up off the ground and ran it in for a touchdown. You notice I said immaculate deception. You know, the NFL calls it the immaculate reception, but there was no reception. It was all deception. That ball hit the ground. But but you know that I can even go back to when they were the Washington Redskins and the St. Louis Football Cardinals, not the Arizona Cardinals, and the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Washington Redskins in St. Louis on a play where if they had replayed it, it never would have happened. But bad luck, man. That's why you can't be betting your money. Let's get to the next point. The next point is King Henry's fumble. Derrick Henry hardly ever fumbles. Listen, man, I know you like numbers, Felix, so I did this just for you. Listen, man, Derrick
Okay.
Henry has fumbled in his NFL career 25 times. Check this out. On 2,529 career attempts. Felix, that's one fumble every 127 times he touches the ball. That's amazing. But basically, it was a rare and a colossal mistake by a great player who was having a great night, man. Whoever got him in fantasy was loving life, man. But I have to say this, it was also a great defensive play by Ed Oliver. But like I told you, like I told Lori, as we was watching this game, the coaches tell you to protect the ball and you know, in the end of the game, when you go in for that drive under 4 minutes, you stop the running back and you say, protect the ball. Don't try to get extra yards. Protect the ball. And on the defensive side, the defensive coach are telling them tackle the ball, tackle the ball. So the offense is saying protect the ball. The defense is saying tackle the ball. The Bills did it. The Ravens didn't. And like I said, they just can't get right. I got to get a shout out to my brother Steve checking in from the North Pole. That's hilarious, Steve. Yes, that's hilarious. That's a private joke. All right. Felix, after the Bills missed the 2-point conversion again, the Ravens needed just one first down to ice the game. And again, the Ravens' poor play calling cost them this game. Listen, I'm giving Zay Flowers the ball on a jet sweep when I have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the backfield. I don't think so, coach. I'm sorry. Listen, Felix, if I'm coaching that game, I'm not losing that game. I would not have lost that game if I was coaching for Baltimore. If I'm the coach, listen, in baseball, and you know this, Felix, you always tell your pitcher, if you're gonna get beat with your best pitch. Don't get beat with your second best pitch. Don't get beat with your third best pitch. And God forbid, don't get beat with your fourth best pitch. You know, if you got a 102-mile-an-hour fastball, then that's what I'm going to lose on. And and I like Zay Flowers, but he's not the Ravens' first pick option. He's not their second option. He's not even their third best option. And then when Zay Flowers comes up 3 yards short by falling down, okay, with the ball on their 38-yard line, you punt and give it back to the MVP, Josh Allen. There's a dig there. The MVP, Josh Allen. I don't think so. Again, that's coaching. That's the can't get right Ravens. What's your thoughts on that, Felix?
That's an excellent point, and it goes back to what I meant when it said when you're in the last seconds of the game and the ball's in your court on offense, you go for the surefire thing, and it's usually running the ball, especially if you have a skilled running back.
Mm-hmm.
Even if not, it's running the ball just to keep the clock moving. Maybe you need more yardage. Maybe you're in a situation, and I try not to bring the Commanders into every conversation, but unfortunately,
Yeah, right. Sure you do.
people in my personal life can vouch for that. I tend to bring them into non-sports convos, but like what Washington did when they were trying to milk the clock, they went for the sure option. I mean, you have your options like the running back, the receiver going shallow, and maybe you go a little further up if you're certain enough. But that's the thing. They did not go for their best options when it mattered the most. And like you said, if you mess up with that, at least you know you tried your best, you did the best you could do, and it just didn't work out. And that's what happens sometimes.
Mhm.
But like like you said, Baltimore didn't even do that, so that just it really puts salt on the wound.
Listen, I'm getting ready to pull a Felix here, and I'm going to pull a Felix here and jump to another game. Listen, man, and we're going to talk about this in just a few minutes. When Mother Wiggs Chiefs was playing the Los Angeles Chargers, when the game was on the line, Coach Harbaugh put the ball in his best player's hand, Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert brought them home. Come on, man, how are you not going to give the ball to Lamar Jackson? When all you need is a first down to win, how are you not gonna put the ball in Lamar Jackson's hand? Man, that guy is lethal, man. He's lethal. It's like, it's like, well, if what's that poison, Lori? What's that deadly poison?
Arsenic.
Arsenic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I take a little arsenic, will it kill me? That's what Lamar Jackson is on third and fourth down. He's lethal. How are you not putting the ball in his hand? That's just crazy. That's just crazy, man. The new nickname for the Baltimore Ravens is "Can't Get Right." They just can't get right. It's absolutely amazing. Look, let's move on to our next game. Let's get to the Dallas Cowgirls. You know what? I apologize. It's week 1 of the new season. The Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, Felix, I was really pleasantly surprised and shocked that the the Cowboys, the Cowboys should have won this game. Man, Dak played great. Dak looked like the $60 million man. That's the take back on the day when I was a kid, there was a $6 million man. Dak is the $60 million man. CeeDee Lamb, Felix, CeeDee Lamb simply has got to look the ball into his hands. That's all. He let himself down. He let his teammates down. He let Cowboy Nation down. Daddy Rich, Pastor Speed, Elder Kim, I'm giving you guys y'all flowers. Your Cowboys looked good. I saw an improved defense overall, and a dynamic offense that I think Felix can score 30 points a game. If they can keep Donald Trump, I'm sorry, I mean Jerry Jones, if they can keep Jerry Jones out of the way, this team could make the playoffs. Playoffs? Playoffs? Play? Are you kidding me? I just hope we can win a game. Listen, don't worry. Unlike not signing Micah, the Cowgirls will win some games this year. That's what Jerry Jones said. Felix, what's your take on Dallas and Philly?
Like I said, Dallas, they put up, like I said earlier, Dallas would put up a fight against Philadelphia. They sure enough did. But what I'd say about this game, I'd say as a Commanders fan, I was very pleased with what I saw from both teams. What I saw from both teams was a complete inability to stop the opposing offense.
Mm-hmm.
So, that aside, I also wanted to bring up the fact that the Cowboys, again, they could have won that game minus a few errors, especially that last drop pass.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, Dak Prescott, he played a solid game, almost start to finish. And as
He
much
played
as
great.
I joke about him, as much as we all joke about him, I know he's one of the most talented players in the National Football League, one of the most talented quarterbacks,
Mm-hmm.
longest tenured quarterback in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And even in seasons where he's injured or misses half the season, he still ranks top 10 in passing yards, which is almost unheard of. So the thing is, Dallas, I feel like they figured out what to do with their offense. I mean, assuming that they're consistent with what they're doing on offense. But again, I'm pretty sure, like I said, even if Dallas reaches their full potential, I looked at their defense, and again, even if they're that good, Washington can easily outmatch them. Philly, I don't see Philly really doing anything to stop us, seeing how much they struggle with Dallas on defense. So, all in all, as I expected, a good game.
I think George Pickens is going to keep people honest, and I think he's going to allow CeeDee Lamb to have a great year because they can't ignore the other side like they did last year with George Pickens already. He's legit. Okay, let's talk about Dwayne Taylor's Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there's a couple of reasons that teams don't repeat in all sports, but especially in the NFL. And here's what the Eagles have to deal with. So again, I want to run some things down by you, Felix. Okay, number one, the reason they don't repeat is they become victims of their own success, meaning
Yes.
losing staff to other teams for coaches. They get scalped for their coordinators. What's your thoughts on that, Felix?
I try not to bring my favorite teams into this in first person
well,
because this is the first time I saw one of my favorite teams win a championship. It was the Capitals in 2018. Immediately we lose our coach, and that was just the downfall because he was a defensive minded. He was a coach that not only bolstered the defense for the Caps, but had us play multi-level. We had different lines of talented players. So when our starters were out, we're still playing high level two-way hockey. So we had that championship season. All that happened, another team offered him more money. Barry Trott's gone, and what? I'm sorry. One more, and I'm done on this topic. What hurts me is that we could have easily won 2 straight titles if he stayed on our team. There's no way Boston or St. Louis, no offense, would have stopped us in 2019 if Trotz were still our coach. But yes, that's the problem. Like you said, look at the Detroit Lions. They lost their coordinator.
Right. Great point. Great point.
Football. So
Yep.
yeah,
Listen,
you're right.
Felix, let me drag you back into the nightmare of Daniel Snyder. If I could take you back to 2012, and of course, Washington didn't win in 2012, but they had the 6th best offensive coaches in all of NFL on their staff in 2012, and they didn't hire any of them. I mean, if you name off the top 5 coaches in the NFL, 4 of them were on the Washington staff in 2012, and they didn't hire any of them. Listen, the second reason is free agency. They can't keep all of those stars and pay them. They lost a lot on defense and on the offensive line. What's your take on that?
Right.
The Eagles.
That's another thing. When you have all those stars that help you, it goes back to the whole thing where when you have a hot team, you have to strike the iron when it's hot. You have to go right then and there because at a certain point, you keep trying to build your team up and you're taking the slow and steady approach. When you're that close, what happens is these players aren't going to sit and wait, for the title. They're going to chase after the money as it's their right to do. It's their labor. Then these other teams, they're obviously not going to wait for you to win a title. They're going to try to say, hey, I'm going to offer this player X amount of money. So the fact of the matter is, that's why I was really concerned with the Terry McLaurin situation because, an example, we were at the NFC Championship last year. McLaurin, had he been out, all of a sudden we're in a situation where we can't spread out opposing defenses as easily. Then it's a couple steps back down, and progressively it gets worse, and you're out of the playoff picture in the matter of a few years after being an NFC Championship game. So, excellent point.
Okay. Let me go ahead and run through these other ones kind of quickly, and you can answer at the end. Okay. The third thing is injuries. You just don't know what's going to happen. If you look at, like you said, the Detroit Lions last year, when you lose your stars, you basically lose your season. And then this is one of the biggest factors, and I'm calling this the ninja factor. You guys follow me out there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. The ninja factor. There's always a ninja on your team, like, like like Jalen Carter spitting on people. Can you believe that? How do you explain that? If you got kids, how do you explain that? I'm sorry, daddy spit on another guy on front of national TV. Football is so tough because, Felix, you really need 53 players on one accord. And all it takes is 1, 2, or 3 undisciplined players to sabotage your whole season. Uh, uh, it's and then let me just, I thought he said also with Philly, what they have to be thrilled about, Felix, is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is that dude. And I think he's the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. He has the physical talent, but what everyone overlooks at the QB position is his leadership abilities. Everyone is missing the boat on this guy's leadership abilities. Okay, well, you know what? I'm getting on my soapbox. It's the Tom the Bomb Show. Okay, while we're talking about QBs, Felix, the NFL for years, have avoided black quarterbacks like it was the plague. This year in 2025, there are 16 starting black quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, there's only 32 teams in the NFL. Quick math, quick math. That's 50%. And check this out, Felix, because I know you like numbers. There are a total of 47 black QBs on rosters in 2025 NFL. Now, here's why your defense plays. Here's why you got to have these black quarterbacks. Here's why, Felix. Your defense plays outstanding defense on a play. And then the QB breaks the pocket and runs for 18 yards on 4th and 14 for a game-winning first down conversion. Now, your quarterback doesn't have to be black to do that, right, Justin Herbert? Okay. But but in 2025, he has to be mobile. And the game has changed on every level from Pee Wee to high school to college, and now even more so in the NFL. The NFL welcome the black quarterback. You're only 50 years late. Jalen Hurts killed the Cowboys. Jaden Daniels is a phenom. Lamar Jackson is lethal. You gotta have these guys, man. Okay, getting back to the Eagles, they still have the number one ranked player in the NFL top 100 in Saquon Barkley. They'll be there, but Felix, I'm not ready to put them back in Super Bowl 60 just yet. Okay, I know it's only week one, but let's see how all of those replacements fit in this year's team, and if they can keep the ninjas in check. What's your take on all of that, Felix? That was a lot. I gave you a lot.
I'm so glad you said it. And sometimes this is just a case in which situations kind of force people to think logically. And the thing is, yes, unfortunately, this isn't the first time bias, yeah, bias has always been around different sections of society, but it comes down to a point. Hey, look, defenses are faster and more talented than ever. Defenses aren't a bunch of bulky, less athletic people now. Like, no, these are people who are either bulky or lean. However, but they're just fast. They're able to keep up with your offensive players. There's not a speed disparity as there used to be. And so basically, yes, you do need to say, hey, look, at this point, we need a quarterback that can do multiple things, and we can't be so picky. You can't be so biased because that's going to cost us. And I'm sorry to use my team as an example, but this time it's going to be as a bad example because I'm going to mention the one owner the team had that was worse than Dan Snyder. Taking it back to the 1960s, there was a point where Washington was the worst team in the NFL for about 2 decades because the owner at the time was racist and the last owner in the NFL to sign an African American player. And it was up to a point where they're like, hey, look, these other teams, they're being inclusive. They're like, hey, look, we're not looking at your skin color. We're looking at how well you can play. And what Washington's owner at the time was doing, he was cutting the team short by not signing these players. And we're falling behind the game. Then, boom, all of a sudden he started. I mean, unfortunately, the reason he started signing black players, it had nothing to do with football.
They threatened
That's a long story.
They threatened him.
Long story.
Boy, Felix, you are such a historian.
Anyway.
You are such a historian. Yeah, he's talking about Preston Marshall. And think about this. The Washington Redskins had the number one draft pick in 1964, 65, and they traded it to Cleveland because they didn't want to take Ernie Davis as their number one draft pick.
Yep.
Yep. So you're absolutely correct. Hey man, let's move on to the next game. I'm starting to get I got to watch the clock. Let's move on to our next game. The Mother Wigs Kansas City Chiefs versus the Chargers. Let's move on to that. Man, Patrick Mahomes was 7-1 in head-to-head matches with Justin Herbert. At some point, Felix, you have to beat the big boy on the block to truly step into the QB elite ranks. Justin has got to beat Patrick. Well, on Friday, he was great, going 25 for 34, passing for 318 yards with 3 TD passes, and he carried it 7 times to move the chains for 32 yards rushing. The balance between Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, and the welcome return of Keenan Allen proved to be too much for Mother Wig's Kansas City Chiefs defense. With Coach Harbaugh's penchant for running the ball, he and offensive coordinator Greg Roman slipped the Chiefs a Mickey. They slipped him a Mickey and flipped the script on them by airing it and putting all the OGs out there in remembrance of San Diego's Air Coryell as they rained passes down on the KC defense. They did a good job of throwing running plays to their running backs. You look what I said, throwing running plays to their running back, and then they ran enough to keep them off balance. The Chargers' defense was great, in particular defensive end Tierra Tart, and I got to talk about Tierra Tart because he started the game off kind of like Jalen Carter did for the Eagles without spitting on someone. But he had a really stupid play, but then he spent the rest of the game redeeming himself, swatting down multiple Patrick Mahomes passes. Yeah. What's your take on this game so far? The Chiefs and the Chargers.
So I'd say the Chiefs and Chargers game. I'd say my big takeaway. First off, credit to the Chargers. Take absolutely nothing away from them, but the Chiefs. More and more, we're seeing that they are not the same team that they were at one point. And the fact of the matter is, it's come down to not just Mahomes receivers dropping the ball, not just the fact that first off, I want to say that entire game was really one dimensional. It was kind of pass for pass. I didn't see a lot of running in that game. And I understand it's a passing league, but that was an extreme. But also, what I wanted to say was it just starts raising some questions because Patrick Mahomes, he was throwing some inaccurate passes. As a matter of fact, he had his lowest completion percentage in a quarter, dating back to that Super Bowl where they were dominated by the Bucks, front seven. So
Felix, you better stop talking about Mother Wig's boy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
that's fine. That's fine. Basically, that's pretty much the long and short of it. So I'm starting to see a lot of questions with the Chiefs. And another question, how much of an impact did Eric Bieniemy really have on that Chiefs team? Because I noticed
A lot.
since he left that offense, their yardage, even though they had a great season last year, great season the year before, their yardage, certain crucial stats plummeted since he left. So that just raises a question: how much of an impact did he truly have?
Look, I was just waiting for Mother Wig's Chiefs to come back and steal this game like they always do. But the Chargers
I
showed
was.
some intestinal fortitude, and they grew a pair. Coaching is so important in the NFL, and Jim Harbaugh has done a fantastic job with his team. I look for the Chargers and the Broncos to give Mother Wig's Chiefs a run for their money in the AFC West this year. But I'm still taking the Chiefs. Yeah, they're not good this year. They'll only win probably 12 or 13 games this year. Again, it looks like they're hurting at the receiver position. But the good news is, even what you're saying, they still got MJ still under at center. As long as Andy Reid and number 15 is there, the Chiefs will have the last say. So the road to the crown still goes through Kansas City. Let's get to the game you want to talk about. The G-Men versus the Washington Commander. Man, these interconference games are always tough. And even though the Commanders were favored, the G-Men always give Washington trouble. The Giants miss Saquon Barkley, man. It's that simple.
Yes.
Huge mistake. Barkley owns the Commanders. The Giants running backs had 30 yards on 15 carries. Russell Wilson rushed for 33 yards by himself. He was the leading ball carrier. The Giants only converted 4 out of 16 third downs, and the Commanders' defense has improved a lot despite first week jitters and their timing being off because they missed on some plays that should have blown this game open, letting the Giants hang around. Not being a Commanders fan, Washington looks scary to me. And after week one, they look better than the Eagles to me. The offseason acquisitions, offensively and defensive for the Commanders, look like winners. And Jaden Daniels already looks better, even while missing on some throws that should have broke this game over. You guys are going to love Debo. The O line and the defensive line both look better. They were just sloppy, but they still got the W. What's your take on your Commanders?
I'm going to say this. I'm glad you brought up some of the missed throws, but a lot of those missed throws, we're talking about the 50-50 ball. There's one that was thrown just past McLaurin. That's not really a problem to me because when you're going deep, there's a reason why it's called 50-50. That's probably a that's probably a really generous estimate because it's really hard to make those passes. Most of those miss. I didn't really see that as a big deal. Then the others were dropped passes, one by Ertz. He had another by Samuel, but the ones by Samuel, he was getting hit as he was catching it. So I wasn't too bothered by that. So I'd say that Jade Daniels, all in all, played a solid game. But I'm glad you brought up the defense because the defense, the main concern of this game was Malik Neighbors breaking the game wide open. We held him to 11 yards. And so you're
Great.
the secondary.
Lattimore looked good.
Right. The secondary is my biggest area of concern. And we look good during training camp, but that's
Training
just
camp.
practice.
Right. Practice. We're talking about practice.
Exactly. Then it all pans out in the regular season. Trey Amos had a lockdown game, and I was even looking at the defensive coverage scheme. I didn't like what I was looking at. I'm like, hey, you have Malik Neighbors here. Why are we covering him with zone? Why do we have a slot corner on Neighbors?
Mhm.
Why do we only have one safety out deep? Why aren't we doubling up on Neighbors? And it still panned out because they played well. So it was actually a rare case of execution overcoming some of the potential issues I saw in the strategy on defense. Then let's talk about the front seven. The middle, the interior just completely collapsed around any attempt New York made to run. Russell Wilson was consistently under pressure. And I was still concerned because Russell, he knows how to get his way out of a dig. I've seen him make miraculous plays, and he kind of got, unfortunately, I feel he was swept under the rug because he had to share a spotlight with
Jackson Dart.
Marshawn Lynch
Yeah.
and the Legion of Boom.
Right.
So
Mhm.
the fact of the matter is, we dealt with that, and all in all, it was a solid game. And here's the story a lot of people don't talk about. I'm going to sound crazy when I say this, but Washington could have easily shut out the Giants in that game because a lot of the Giants' drives were extended by penalties.
Absolutely.
Even Washington's drives, there was penalty issues. There was a 10-second runoff at the end of the half that took away 3 points from the board. So Washington could have easily won that game, say, without being too greedy now, 27-0. And so I was really excited, really happy with what I saw. A lot of people are criticizing the game. They're like, oh, Washington only had 3 scoring drives, so on and so forth. Yeah, but if you take the penalties out, that's a different story. So
it's week one. Everybody's rusty. It's week one. Now take the W and run with it. Hey, let's get to our next game. The Steelers versus the Jets. The Steel City welcomed Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh, and the future Hall of Famer did not disappoint. In one of the best games of the day, Rodgers in his 40s threw for 4 TDs and no interceptions. I was rooting hard for Justin Fields, who also played well, but when the game was on the line, his inexperience showed up in his decision making down the stretch, and particularly on the last play when he could have picked up the first down running. He chose to pass to Garrett Wilson, and Jalen Ramsey made a great defensive play with a tough, hard hit to break up the play. You never pass when you can run. Ask Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. I think both of these teams are going to be interesting, and I think in spite of giving up 32 points, I think the Steelers defense will be much better. I just hope Justin Fields keeps developing. Real quick on this one, Felix, since we got to move. What's your thoughts on this one?
So I'd say this is a game that actually surprised me. So I'd say this solid game by both teams. I knew both offenses would improve, but I think some questions were raised about both defenses in that game, but there's more to be told. And I definitely think both teams greatly improved in the offseason.
Week one. All right, let's go to our next game. We got the Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Buccaneers versus the Falcons. Last year Atlanta beat the Buccaneers were a playoff team and really a really good football team, and they lost twice to the Falcons, and both of those losses were kind of fluke losses. But they really should have beat them again today. I mean, come on, man! Your kicker misses a 44-yard field goal. You got to make that one. The one thing I want to say about this game is Michael Penix Jr. has a big time arm. I mean, I haven't seen a quarterback throw like him since John Elway and Dan Marino. He's got a cannon, man. This guy is throwing the ball in the flats. He's throwing darts talk 30, 35 yards downfield to the corners. Man, this was a good football game. The Buccaneers won 23-20, but the Falcons at the very least should have went OT. What's your take on this one?
Yes, that was usually when you have two division rivals going at it, it's going to be a good game. And no matter how much better you perceive one as the other, if the weaker team has certain X factors, they're going to play to their best and they're going to make it a good game. And the fact of the matter is, hey, in this case, it was Tampa Bay winning in regulation. And honestly, I think I don't have any reason to think Tampa Bay is going to miss a beat for this season. Atlanta, on the other hand, I actually think, again, generally speaking, it's just week one, too early to say anything. But I think Atlanta's gotten even better.
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr. is going to be the difference maker. Let's move on to our next game. We got the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns, and man, this was the battle of Ohio. The Bengals prevailed 17-16 in a really really good football game. But you know, the Browns always have a good defense. They always have a good defense, and we know that the Bengals are high powered offense, and the Browns shut that high powered offense down. I mean, this was a great game. Joe Flacco played okay. You know, I'm going to have to almost have a whole different show on what's going on with Shadur Sanders because there's so much behind that. We can't get into that right now, but we're going to might have a whole show just on that. But what was your take on the Bengals and Browns, 17-16? Great game.
Honestly speaking, there's not much we can tell from that game. Maybe perhaps I could say the Bengals defense was able to do something, but the thing about the Browns offense, they're not really pass oriented. The Bengals' main weakness is a pass offense. So that being said, if the Browns had a better pass offense, maybe the game's results flipped on its head. But at the same time, I'm looking at the fact that Cincinnati was held under 20. I know how good the Browns defense is,
Mhm.
but I'd say that this is a game I can't surmise too much from,
Mhm.
but potentially I'd say that there are a few red flags here for the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with the score, it could have went either way. Let's move on to our next game. Got to move on. My San Francisco 49ers get a big win in Seattle, 17-13. It's always a tough win up there, man. This game was interesting. They had some injuries. We lost tight end. We lost our tight end. But the 49ers showed some intestinal fortitude and hung on to get this win, 17-13. Man, let me tell you something, man. Winning in Seattle was tough. What did you think of the Seahawks' new quarterback?
Honestly speaking, I
Sam Darnold.
it was underwhelming. I mean, honestly speaking, I think they made a big mistake in getting rid of
Gino?
Geno
Yeah.
Smith and Sam Howell back to back.
Mhm.
And people aren't aware of how good Sam Howell actually is because even though he didn't do that well with Washington, that was mainly because he didn't have an offensive line. He
Mhm.
led the NFL in pass yards. But the fact of the matter is, the offensive line kept collapsing. The team was kind of in a tailspin. And really, I was just looking at it. Give him a chance, have him in a solid offensive line. Seattle could be very dangerous.
Mhm.
He wasn't given that chance. I don't think he ever started a game after being in Washington. Correct me if I'm wrong. So he never.
Had another
Sadly, he
chance.
might be one of those talented quarterbacks that peaks way later.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Let's move on. We got a lot to cover. Uh, the next game was the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. The Packers prevailed 27-13. And Felix, I thought Green Bay was the best team I saw on Sunday. Michael Parsons was clearly gassed, but while he was in there, man, when his motor is running, I thought Green Bay was the best team that I saw. And they're talking about, well, you know, Ben Johnson wasn't there on the offense. That was Green Bay's improved defense, especially adding Michael Parsons, holding that high-powered Lions offense to just 13 points. What's your take on this game?
I would say this now. It was beyond a pass rush. It was solid run rush defense. Now, I would say, and by the way, the Lions were held down to fewer than 3.1 yards per rush on per player up until the latter portions of the third quarter. So you had that, and the Packers offense wasn't bad. Honestly, one of two things happened. Either the Lions collapsed with the departure of their coordinators, or the NFC is in serious danger with this new improved Packers. I think there's some truth to both the ideas.
I think, you know, because, you know, I wasn't leaning on this too strong, man, but I'm telling you, man, there was a lot of good games, a lot of good team. You know, the Ravens looked great, the Bills looked great. I thought Green Bay was the best team that I saw on Sunday. Let's move on to our next game. We got the Miami Dolphins versus the Colts. The Dolphins ended last season with dissension in the ranks, with Tyreek Hill acting like a ninja, which led to, to him being voted out as captain in 2025. I saw him in full diva mode on the sideline complaining. And I understand all wide receivers want the ball and they didn't go to it, but the Dolphins had no running game and no passing game. And that led to the Colts opening up a can of ooh la. even with Danny Dimes at quarterback for the Colts. Daniel Jones was 22 for 29 for 273 yards with a passing TD. Jonathan Taylor chipped in 71 yards rushing. Michael Pittman had 6 receptions for 80 yards and 1 T after not doing anything for me in last year's fantasy football, which is why I'm out this year. but the real story was the Colts defense. What a great game plan, and they executed it to perfection. I know it's week one, but they had the Dolphins totally flustered. What was your take on this one?
I would say this: the Miami Dolphins, they're in a really, really bad way this season. Now, I would say that the Colts, yeah, the Colts had a solid game. Daniel Jones had a good game in his own right. But a lot of those 33 points, they were set up by some turnovers, some again, key crucial miscues in their own at their own side of the field. So again, with the Colts, I'd say I always knew they had a solid defense, but honestly, what I saw from Miami, I think this is beyond just the Colts defense. I think there's some serious trouble in that team.
Okay, let's move on to our next game. We got the Panthers versus the Jaguars. The Jaguars prevailed 26-10. The Jaguars defense looked great, but this team is only going as far as the $55 million QB Trevor Lawrence takes them. Last year was his come to Jesus season, and he still didn't perform. He's getting every opportunity to succeed and be great. The potential is there, but that simply means he hasn't done it yet. Travis Etienne Jr. had a Saquon Barkley type of game. And that's really the kind of help that Trevor Lawrence is going to need to be successful. Right now, he's not the QB that's going to beat you by himself, i.e., Patrick Mahomes. Bryce Young, after finishing last season strong, showed he's not quite ready for prime time either. It's week one. Give him a chance, honey. The Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter, had 6 receptions for 33 yards. What's your take on this one, quick?
I'd say again, too early to tell, but I would say this: maybe the Panthers are not as improved as I thought they were towards the end of last year.
Well, they lost some people, and when you lose acquisitions like that, I think his possession receiver, went back to Minnesota, and I think that really, really hurt him. Older receivers help young quarterbacks out; they really do, and I think he's missing. Thielen, went back to Minnesota. Our next game was the Cardinals versus the Saints. The Cardinals prevailed 20-13. The Saints can't win in those ugly uniforms, and, and they should have drafted Shadur Sanders. Uh, they really should have. The Saints blew this game, and they should have won. And they should have won. The Saints had the ball on Arizona's 18-yard line, and Rattler, the QB, spiked the ball on first down to stop the clock. And then they had 3 straight incompletions, leaving 13 seconds on the clock, never gaining another yard. Buda Baker, the All-Pro, showed why he's simply one of the best in all of NFL, making the game-saving breakup. What was your take on this one?
I would say that the game happened exactly as I expected. I knew New Orleans. Maybe Spencer Rattler had something to him, but he still has more. He has some more to do. But I knew Arizona, although they're a so-so team. I'd say they're somewhat below average. I knew that they had enough talent to beat New Orleans, so it happened as I expected.
I knew it was going to be an ugly game. I knew that.
Yeah.
Our next game was the Raiders versus the Patriots. The Raiders prevailed 20-13. Geno Smith was 22 for 34 for 362 yards passing and a TD, setting a franchise record in his debut start for the Raiders. Geno knows who he is, and he's confident in his abilities. Drake May was 30 for 46 for 287 yards and a TD and 1 interception. And Brock Bowers had 5 receptions for 103 yards. I think he might be the best tight end in football right now, Brock Bowers.
Mm.
Yeah, that's saying a lot because I like Kittle in San Francisco. Uh, our next game was the Titans versus the Broncos. The Broncos won 20-12. This wasn't a hard game to pick. You got a rookie QB making his first start against one of the best defenses in the NFL. That's checkmate, unless your rookie QB is named Jaden Daniels. Our next game was the Texans versus the Rams. The Texans won or lost 9-14 to the Rams. It looked like the Rams addressed their offseason needs, and the Texans didn't. CJ Stroud called out his team, and I can't believe he said that. He called his team lollygaggers. He said they were lollygagging. I can't believe he used that word. I love it. I love it. He said that their attitude wasn't ready to play. How does that happen in week one, Felix? Everybody's hyped up for week one. How does that happen?
Well, that's the thing. The Texans, they're a, they're a team that has Stroud. They're a team that has a solid running game. Okay, Joe Mixon. But aside from that, I hate to say it, that's pretty much it. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's lollygagging, but honestly
That's what
speaking,
CJ Stroud called it. I didn't call it that. CJ Stroud called it that. That
no,
busted me up when he used, because I love that from my one of my favorite movies, Bull Durham. They're lollygaggers.
and 100%, I'm with Stroud in the way he's trying to get his team motivated. I appreciate him for using clean language. You know, it's not so much that I'm offended by foul language; it's just that I think it's overly used in today's climate. But the thing is that,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, the Texans, they could have, I dare say, should have won that game. So
Yeah, yeah. They still got a good defense. The defense didn't let them down, But like I said, it looked like the Rams. I was really high on the Rams from last year. So I don't think this is a game that they can bounce back from this one. Rams is a good football team. Let's get to our predictions. Let's start off with our Monday night football game. The Minnesota Vikings versus the Bears. Who do you like in this Monday night game, Felix?
Bears.
Bears. Okay. Okay. I'm taking the Vikings just so we can go 1-1. All righty, let's get to the week 2 predictions for our upcoming game. Thursday night, September 11th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Felix, I think this is the NFC Championship game right here. Preview. We got your Washington Commanders versus the Green Bay Packers. Who do you like in this game, Felix?
I'm really scared here. I'm not going to lie to you.
Don't be
I
scared.
think
Don't
the
be scared.
Commanders
Don't be
take it, and
scared,
it's going to
Felix.
come
Don't
down
be
to the final
scared,
drive.
Felix. Don't be scared. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead. I didn't hear who I was talking over you. I'm sorry. Who do you like?
Oh yeah, Commanders. I think it comes down to the final drive. I'm not. Again, I don't think this is going to be a game we win decisively, but I think we're going to tough this one out just due to the strength of the roster.
After saying that I thought the Packers was the best team that I saw all week, man, not being a Washington Commanders fan, man, I really, really like the Commanders. I like what they're doing. I'm taking the Commanders in this one as well. Let's get to our next game. We got the Cleveland Browns versus the Baltimore Ravens. And I think quite naturally you'll say, the Ravens are going to bounce back and crush the Browns. But man, the Browns play the Ravens as good as anybody because they got that good defense. With all that being said, I'm taking the Ravens. Who do you like?
The Ravens, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
that was a long round.
they're mad.
Yeah, that was a long way around. Game 3, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars versus Cincinnati Bengals. Tom the Bomb's taking the Bengals. Who do you like?
This game might actually be a toss up, but yeah, the Bengals are a smart pick.
Okay. Our next pick is the G-Men from New York versus the Dallas Cowboys. Tom the Bomb is taking the Dallas Cowboys. You hear that, Daddy Rich? You hear that, Daddy Rich? I'm taking your team.
Cowboys easy.
Cowboys easy. Okay. Then we got the Bears versus the Lions. I'm taking the Lions bouncing back in this one against the Bears. Who do you like, Felix?
Uh, Again, this game,
Not an easy
I'm going to
game.
go with the
Interdivision.
Lions. The Lions are the safe pick, but the Bears could surprise you. But I'm still going Lions.
Gus, who you taking? The Bears or the Lions? That's a dumb question. Gus is taking the Bears. He's always taking the Bears. The Bears. Our next game is the New England Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins. I'm taking the Pats in this one.
Patriots.
Okay. All righty. Our next game, we got my San Francisco 49ers versus the New Orleans Saints. Please wear those ugly uniforms again. Tom the Bomb, of course, is taking my Niners. Who do you like, Felix?
Mm, San Francisco.
San Francisco. Oh, I was reluctant. Twist his arm. Then we got the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. Tom the Bomb is taking the Bills. Boy, didn't the Bills look good.
Well, maybe the Jets surprise him. I got to go with one upset.
Okay, you're taking the Jets. Hey, and you know what? That's not a crazy pick. The only thing is, don't bet on it. Don't make don't, don't make it your lock pick of the week.
Right.
Then we got the Seattle Seahawks versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was impressed with Ron. I'm going to take the Steelers in this one on against a good Seahawk team. I'm taking the Steelers. Who do you like?
Oh, Steelers, easy, yeah.
Okay, easy. Okay, Felix says easy, easy. All right. We got the LA Rams versus the Tennessee Titans. Tom the Bomb's taking the Rams in this one.
I think the Titans pull off an upset.
Okay, Felix has the Titans. Then we got the Carolina Panthers versus the Arizona Cardinals. Tom the Bomb is going to take the Arizona Cardinals in this one.
Hmm. Uh, Cardinals.
All righty. Then we got the Denver Broncos versus the Indianapolis Colts. I think this is going to be a good game. Man, Felix, I'm letting you go first on this one. Felix, are the Colts for real, or who do you like, Broncos or Colts?
I'm going to go with the Broncos for now.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Broncos too, just because I don't trust Danny Dimes yet. I don't, but I'm gonna go with the Broncos as well. Then we got the Super Bowl rematch. We got the Dwayne Taylors for Philadelphia Eagles against Mother Wigs, Kansas City Chiefs. Tom the Bomb is taking the Eagles. Who do you like, Felix?
Eagles.
Okay, Eagles. Beat them again. And then we have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Minnesota Vikings. I think that's a Sunday night game. I'm going with, I like the Falcons. I'm taking the Falcons in this one.
Well, this one might change depending on the results of tonight's game,
Yeah.
but for right now, definitely the Falcons.
Okay, he said definitely the Falcons. Alrighty. That's and then we got our Monday night game, which is September 15th at 7:15. We got two Monday night games actually, and we're going to tell you who they are. We got the Buccaneers versus the Texans. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then we got the Chargers versus the Raiders. Felix, we're going to save those picks for next week, but those are the games. Remember next week we got two Monday night games: a 7 o'clock game, Buccaneers versus the Texans, and the Chargers versus the Raiders. That's gonna be good. That's gonna really, really be good. Hey, let's get to our trivia question before we let Felix go. Our trivia question today was Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are the two of three QBs to have ever won 13 games with two different teams. Felix, you got an answer for the poll question?
Okay, there are two of three quarterbacks to win 13 games with two different teams.
Yep.
I
And
think the
who's the third guy?
one, I could be wrong, but I believe it was Brett Favre from Minnesota in 2009.
Brett Favre. Okay. How about Jared Goff for the Detroit Lions?
Oh, yeah, 2018, I think, in this past year.
See, I snuck that 100-mile-an-hour heater past you. I didn't go with my second best pitch or my third best pitch. I threw you my first best pitch, and I threw the cheese by you. Jared Goff is the answer. He had 13 wins with the Rams, and last year he had 14 wins with the Detroit Lions. So Jared Goff is the third guy in the history of the NFL to win 13 or more games with two different teams. That's a good one there. Hey, we're gonna take a commercial break. Felix, we thank you. We'll have you back next week. All right.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, pal. Let's take a commercial break, and we'll be right back to wrap up the show.
Window Nation is on the Morgan's home turf to huddle up about replacing their drafty old windows.
This free estimate is showing how easy it is to tackle the problem.
We can get any of these windows custom made.
Yes, you can get the quality and style you really want.
And at a more affordable price than they ever imagined.
Now that they've sealed the deal, they'll be saving money year-round.
We're really confident with Window Nation.
Get your free estimate today and get 60% off all windows plus no interest or payments for 24 months at getwindownation.com.
Sheltered by the Sea of Cortez, Danzante Bay is a pure and peaceful oasis, an uncrowded retreat where your options are as vast as your views. If you're seeking a vacation that defines luxury and the true relaxation, look no further than Villa del Palmar at the islands of Loreto. A splendor of true Mexican hospitality effortlessly blends with rich materials and insatiable comforts to bring guests the ideal home away from home experience. With its quiet beaches, scenic vistas, rich history, and an astounding surrounding natural habitat, you'll feel as though you've been swept off to paradise. Not to be outdone, Reese Jones has crafted TPC Danzante Bay, a brilliant, multi-themed 18-hole golf course that runs over and through valleys, arroyos, dunes, and foothills. From every angle, striking images of the islands of Loreto and the surrounding mountain range take your breath away, while the challenging yet rewarding Baja Golf Course beckons you to return for more. It is an honor and my pleasure to welcome you to the world's most beautiful sunset and so much more.
back. The men's 2025 US Open tennis finals. Rolex invited the president to their luxury box to watch the men's 2025 US Open finals in an attempt to soften up the president's tariff taxes that's costing Rolex an additional whopping 39% in extra payola for all imports from Switzerland. Notice Notices were sent out to the media outlets to not show any negative reactions, incidents, or booing directed at Jerry Jones. I'm sorry. I mean Donald Trump. Okay. So so what happened? It's New York. They know and dislike the president maybe more than any other state. Why? Because they know him the best. So on cue, Trump was met mostly with boos and a few cheers at the extra security delayed. There was extra security that actually delayed the match for more than 45 minutes. The match was supposed to start at 2 p.m. Eastern, but it didn't actually start until 2:48 p.m. As the finals finally began, hundreds of fans were still waiting to go through security screening. They were not happy. Dove had some kind of special where they gave all the people coming in little Dove soap things. And then when they got to the security made them throw it all away. So it's like, so one fan was like, that's great communication that you bring in a company to give away stuff and then you make us throw away what the company just gave us. Yep, yep. Hey, look, man. Side note, Side note, it's the Tom the Bomb Show. Side note, I can do that. When the President of the United States, from the White House, from the Oval Office, has the audacity to call Black or brown children natural born killers, and they're born to be violent, and they're born to be killers, anyone that still supports him, then the president and all of his supporters, they all need to be booed. Are you kidding me? We know this guy isn't right. So we have to continue to pray for him. The word tells us that we have to pray for our leaders so that we may have peaceable lives. And it's time, I think it's time to start holding the people that actually voted for this guy to be held accountable for everything that he does and everything that he says. Uh, how is this happening in America from the Oval Office? So today's unofficial poll question is, how is this possible in 2025 in America that the president of the United States, the most powerful country in the world, can come out and make statements that Black children are born, they're natural born killers, they're violent from birth? Is is that how God made his children? God made his children violent from earth? How is this coming out of the White House? How is this coming out of the Oval Office? How is this possible in 2025 in America? That's what the unofficial poll question is today. Tom the Bomb wants to hear from you on this. How can the leader of the free world say this about his own people? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. My brother told me not to use this word on my show, but these are the same types of steps that Hitler was making. They really are. And they did, and nobody checked him. Okay. All right, Tom the Bomb. How about the how about the match, Tom the Bomb? Carlos Alcaraz won his second US Open, defeating Yannick Sinner in 4 sets, 6-2, 3-6, 6-1, and 6-4. It was his second win over Sinner in a Grand Slam final this year. The win means that we have a new number one. Alcaraz will become the new number one player in the world, replacing Sinner atop the men's world rankings. Bad news for the rest of the men's circuit. Alcaraz is only getting better. It only took him 2 hours and 42 minutes to dispose of Sinner. The caliber of his shot making was on display, was sublime. Alcaraz was the aggressor for most of the match, pushing the initiative. Sinner wasn't able to get Alcaraz on the defensive. His confidence was evident from the beginning to the end of the match. The one set that Alcaraz lost to Sinner was the only set he lost throughout the whole tournament. That's dominance. It's scary because right before our eyes, he's turning into one of the most well rounded players in the world. At just 22 years old, he's the first player to have won multiple Grand Slam titles on all three surfaces before his 23rd birthday. He's turning into lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Okay. With his sixth Grand Slam title, only Dr. Lauren's favorite, Bjorn Borg, has more, with 7 before turning 23. Alcaraz could tie that in January of 2026 at the Australian Open. His serve on Sunday was unstoppable. At times, it was unstoppable. He had 42 winners to center's 21. Alcaraz covered more ground than center and made no double faults. He had 61% of his first serves in play and winning an extraordinary 83% of those points, which was a testament to his speed and his power that simply had center off his game. The dominance that Alcaraz displayed in the third set against a player of center's caliber. Come on, remember, center's the number one player in the world. It was shocking. It was shocking. What I saw with my own eyes, I seen it with my own eyes, which is usually how what I usually like to describe golfers is when Alcaraz is on his A game, no one can touch him. No one can touch him. I don't think it's premature to say that the proverbial torch has been passed on to Carlos Alcaraz. It was only fitting to sum up the whole tournament was that Alcaraz's last winning shot was an ace. Everyone knew how good and promising Alcaraz is, but now he himself knows it. And I think it's over for the rest of the guys. Look for a Scotty Scheffler kind of run in tennis for Carlos Alcaraz. Congratulations, Alcaraz. That was straight up beastly what you did to center. Okay. And in the women's US Open finals concluded, Arena Sabalenka defeated Amanda Anisimova for her second straight US Open championship. It's Sabalenka's fourth Grand Slam title. She's the first woman to win back-to-back US Open titles since, guess who? Tiger Woods. Yeah, Serena Williams, same thing. Serena Williams. Serena Williams did it from 2012 to 2014. The number one seed took the first set 6-3, but Anna Mismova put up a fight and pushed Sabalenka to a break at 6-6. But the tie winning, she won the tie winning self the point, the tiebreaker, and taking home the $5 million payout. Sabalenka has lost the Australian Open in January to Madison Keys, and then she lost the French Open to Coco Gauff, but she managed to avoid becoming the first woman to lose 3 major finals in a single season since Justine Henin in 2006. There's a little history for Felix. This time, Sabalenka didn't get flustered, and she maintained her composure while making adjustments with her shot making. Sabalenka only made 4 unforced errors, while Anna Anisimova committed 29. This disparity clearly defined the match more than any other number. The other the other imposing number was Sabalenka is 20-1. She has a 20-1 record now in tiebreakers. Now it's 21-1 as she dominated the extra game as she gained confidence in the extra session. Congratulations to Carlos Alcaraz and Arena Sabalenka, our US Open winners. Congratulations. Hey gang, that's our show for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Week 1 of the NFL. Listen, don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube and hit that like bell, please. If you're enjoying the content and you'd like to bless our ministry, you can sow into the Tom the Bomb Sports Talk by cash apping us at $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. That's $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talks. And don't forget to check out our website at www.tomthebombsports.com. You can also email us at info@tomthebombsports.com. All of that stuff will come up in our closing image. So if you want, you don't have to worry about trying to describe it. It'll come up again. Hey, gang, for a dynamic, in-depth sports analysis and highlights for sports in the DMV and more, check out the Washington Sports Den on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on WBGR with my main man, Mr. Felix Bassey. Man, time flies when you're having fun. We're out of time here, but we sure do thank you for spending your time with us. We don't take that for granted. Listen, may the gates of heaven open and pour out an abundance of blessings down on you that there won't be room enough to contain it all. As you live off the overflow and step boldly into the realm of grace. Remember, if you want it, you got to confess it with your mouth and believe it in your heart that Jesus died on the cross and that he rose on the third day, not necessarily a Thursday, just for you. Hey, gang, Tom the Bomb wants to leave you with a thought, okay? The thought today is duct tape may patch up a lot of things, but 3 nails fixed everything. Remember, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. God bless you guys. We'll see you in this same time, this same bat channel, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, and 3 p.m. Pacific. We want to thank our guest, Mr. Felix Bassey. We want to thank Dr. Lauren for the fabulous job that she always does. You guys have no idea. You know, they say behind every successful man is a woman. Well, she ain't behind me. She likes inside of me, in front of me. I just wanted to thank her for all the excellent work that she does. You guys have a blessed evening. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Don't forget our Friday night devotionals at 6 p.m. It's so good. Good night.
This is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine. Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine.
Well, I'm coming out with a word in my mouth, filled with excitement to say what it's all about. For a long time, I've held this water in, let the floodgates open, let the miracles begin. I've prayed, and I've gone back 7 times, look again, cause the miracles are mine, stir the water. I'm about to step in like the pool of Bethesda, let the healing begin.
Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine. Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine.
It took a minute to get my composure right. For years it seems like I've been fighting for my life. Confusing times when my days resemble nights. But now this eagle is about to take flight and soar out of darkness to its revelation light. Though the waves are rough, I step out my comfort zone to walk on water, cause I know I'm not alone. God's got my back and reminds me I'm his own. His words are sweet in my mouth, they taste like a honeycomb. And faith has opened up my eyes. I've been through the fire, tested and tried. As I study God's word, I finally realize that my purpose to visualize, to bring the unseen from the realm of under night until I walk into the fullness of a purpose-filled life, cause I'm light. Yes, I am light, and I shine bright. I am an investment of the Lord Jesus Christ. Not only am I light, I am salt. When I enter in, I add flavor to it all. I bring truth, there's no dispute. Jesus is the vine, and in him I take root. I am the head, and not the tail. I'm an overcomer made free to prevail. A new design, a special kind, ambassador followed by wonders and signs. I am light, and I give